to school. 2 and 2 make 4's the rule. This year, next year, evermore. 2 and 2 will still make 4. But what if your teachers had taught you that 2 and 2 made 5, and insisted that you had to do all your sums using that calculation? You'd think they were mad. Would you let your children be taught by a maths teacher that used such a textbook? No, you wouldn't. Because you know that any textbook that says 2 and 2 equals 5, no matter how brilliant the examples or how exalted the professors from famous universities who use the textbook, all the answers are going to be wrong. Worse still, if there were such a maths textbook, and it was actually used by half the world's population, it would mean that virtually everything that was calculated by this method would cause chaos on an unbelievable scale, because nothing would ever be right. See what happens when I change just a few notes into the wrong key. The Bible is a textbook for life for billions of people, so it's important that what it says is right. Not half right or perhaps right, but right. Right. Is it fact? Is it fiction? Is it really the Word of God? And does it matter anyway? Well, yes, it does, because the Bible is the cause of so much misery and death throughout its history. It still is, that it's essential that what it says is absolutely right. Not a, well, we don't know how, but it's right. Right. I can hear you say, it's impossible to prove a myth. You're right. Usually it is, but this case is not usual. It is possible to prove the Bible is a myth. Many of us today have no idea of what the Bible is actually about. We think we know, but we don't, really. It appears 70% of us have no idea of what our religion is based on. Although atheists do. So back to basics, or just one basic, because the whole Bible is based on one event, and like 2 and 2, it has to make 4. The Bible is based historically, and that means it happened and it's not a story, on the first 2 humans created by the God of the Bible. They're known as Adam and Eve, who are supposedly the parents of all mankind. That's us. They sinned. The rest of the Bible is about the children of Adam and Eve. That's us, and what we have to do to atone for their sin. Their mitochondrial DNA has to be in each one of us. And that's true. All Homo sapiens, that's us, share the same DNA. Science and the biblical religions agree on this. The question is, does the DNA prove that we are related to the Adam and Eve who committed that sin? If it does, all of us are threatened with eternal damnation. This bit has to be right. Not a little bit right, but right. If it doesn't, Homo sapiens, that's us, is not guilty, and the Bible can go back on the shelf. Much to the annoyance of the biblical authorities, this can be proved scientifically. Adam and Eve should show up in the DNA timeline. They should be easy to spot, as the man came first, then the woman, then sin, and then all the children with similar DNA. In reality, the first Homo sapiens was a woman, known as mitochondrial Eve. She turned up around 160,000 years ago, and her Adam, y-chromosomal male, turned up at around 50,000 years ago. So Eve had her children running around for 100,000 years before the even possibility of that sin. There may have been another Adam and Eve that conformed to the Bible's description, yet to be discovered, whose species had died out. But mitochondrial DNA is excellent at identification, so one thing is certain. The biblical Adam and Eve are not our ancestors. The Bible is wrong. I can't help it. It's wrong. Not a little bit wrong, or maybe not enough to worry about wrong, but wrong. And it would be a con trick to say anything else. Does it matter today whether Adam and Eve are fact or fiction? Billions of people are quite happy with it as it is. The flood never happened, and that doesn't matter. Surely billions of us can't be so stupid. It seems to work just as well without Adam and Eve. Well, no, it doesn't. The whole of the Bible is based on this one event. Either Adam and Eve really lived, sinned, and we're damned, or they didn't, and we're not guilty. You can't ignore it never happened and pretend it doesn't matter. It does. You can't commit the whole human race to eternal damnation on a myth, metaphor, or allegory because the scientific facts don't fit your beliefs, even if you would like to, as is happening at the moment. It does matter. Today, women are treated as second-class humans because of the sin of Eve. Wars are conducted in its name, and millions are dying unnecessarily of HIV/AIDS. Wouldn't it be better to make sure the Bible is right first, before we kill in the Bible's name? The rest of the sum will be wrong if the first sum is wrong. 2 and 2 must make 4, and Adam and Eve has to be right. Not a little bit right, but right. It's time for the world to come to its senses. Stop pretending all is well with the Bible, put it back on the shelf, and then go out and smell the roses. 2 and 2 make 4's the rule. This year, next year, evermore. 2 and 2 will still make 4.